Okay, so you're all very welcome. And we're just a little bit over time, but we're about to start now. So Judy, Satori, it's great to have you here tonight. I'm just going to give a short intro about your work, and then we'll do a little meditation, and then we'll kick off. And I just want to say I interviewed Judy a couple of years ago, and she's actually done some articles in the magazine Positive Life. I'm a big fan of her work, particularly the light language had a big impact on me. When you did that night live in the Central Hotel, had a big impact. So you've been doing this work for about 24 years. You describe yourself as an energy catalyst, and I suppose to introduce people to the potential that's already within them. And particularly at this time, I think there's a lot going on the planet right now. And I think you're bringing some amazing information about the original, how it all started, how humanity started. And I've, been exploring your work a bit more attentively this week, and I found some real nuggets of wisdom in there. I love stuff about the Elohim and how humanity was seeded. So tonight we're going to explore, the main topic that we're going to explore is becoming God, becoming Goddess. And that's our kind of title for tonight. So that's what we're going to get stuck into as well. So I'm very excited to start off. And as I said, Judy, you're really welcome to Positive Nights. There's a lot of people here who I think are fans of your works. So we should have a good evening. And just to say to people, I will let Judy chat away for about 20 minutes, but I'll come in with questions as well. And after, say, about 45 minutes, you're welcome to type in your questions in the chat box. I've kept everybody on mute because that's the easiest way of doing it. So if you just type in your questions, and then in the second half, we'll do the Q&A so you guys get more involved, and we'll do the Q&A from that point. Okay, Judy, before we start, I'm going to do the short meditation. And okay, so I invite everybody to just close your eyes and take a couple of breaths into your heart center. Just feel your body really relaxing. Get a sense of your heart center kind of turning on. Get a sense of the energy dropping from your head into your heart center. Get a sense that you're moving from the language of thinking to the language of feeling. So just let all those thoughts drift on by and just stay in the feeling zone. And just get a sense of how you're feeling in this present moment. Just get a sense, just get a little taste now of that internal power that's within all of us. That awareness that's within all of us. And that peace that's within all of us. And I'm going to invite you now as we start off to just stay in that space for the rest of the evening. Just stay in that heart space. No need to go into your mind. Just if something resonates, take it away with you. If it doesn't resonate, just leave it. No need to go into mind, no need to go into thought, no need to go into judgment. Just stay with the feeling. And if you open your eyes whenever you're ready. Thank you. Okay. Judy, Satori, you're a legend. Great to have you here. I'm delighted to have you here. So please take the floor. And as I said, I'll keep an eye and keep a listen, and I'll come in with some questions as they arise. Okay?
Thank you, Paul. And thank you, everybody. I can see some of your lovely, beautiful goddess, God faces on the screen. And it's lovely to see you. You know, I can see Hazel and Krista and the editor, Positive Light. It's you. So, and I know there's other people listening. So it's wonderful to be here, because what I want to talk to you about tonight really is about, it's the ascension capstone. It's the capstone of the pyramid of who we are becoming. And I say the word becoming because we are becoming during this ascension process so much more than we have ever known ourselves to be, not just in this life, but in probably all of our lifetimes in physical incarnation on this planet Earth. Because when we came here a very long time ago, we were more expanded. We were so much more of the light of our soul. But because of the many lifetimes that we've had here and the trauma experiences that we've had in some of those lifetimes, a lot of those lifetimes actually, and our innate desire to keep holding the light and holding on to the truth. And this has caused a lot of kickback at times from those who don't want the light and the truth to be here on Earth. We have at times lost our way. At times the light of who we are has been diminished a bit, not by us, but by experience and by circumstance. So as we merge back into that wholeness, we merge back into the divine feminine and masculine aspects of ourselves. As we go through that merging back, we're called upon to release all the limiting, sabotaging energy, beliefs, experiences, and vibrations that we hold within our four-body system, that we hold within the DNA, that we hold within the roots and facets of the chakras, that we hold within our energy field. And so this clearing of that which does not serve has to precede coming back into balance, because it's the coming back into the balance of the God, goddess self that we really authentically are and have always been on a soul level eternally. That is so important for us to go beyond that. And some of you will know that I work with energies from a place called Beyond the Beyond. And what that means is beyond this galaxy. It's beyond what we know. The beyond energy is like tapping into a much more expanded energy matrix of God's source creation energy than we have previously as human people on this earth been able to tap into. And the reason that we can now begin to tap into this more expanded energy of God, really, source, all that is, infinite creative potential, which is all held within the quantum field, which is like the universal fields that surround us and also flow through us. It's because we're at the stage, a very important stage of human advancement. This is an evolutionary advancement for us as people, and for the Earth, and for the galaxy, and for all of the 22 galaxies that make up this energy matrix of Beyond the Beyond. So it really begins with us, because we are like a small space-time version of the whole universe. The whole universe is there within our own body and mind and energy. So to begin, I just want to show you what came to me a few months ago. It's a beautiful little double heart quartz crystal. And you'll probably know that rose quartz is all about love. So when this crystal was given to me, it signified to me the wholeness, the coming back into the balance of the divine masculine and feminine within. Because whether we happen to be male or female in this life, we have a divine masculine side and we have a divine feminine side. So we need to merge with both. So the stages of merging with both, which are in the program that I'll talk to you about later, the God Goddess program that I was asked to create by Spirit, the stages are clearing. And then it is about expanding the heart, because when we've cleared all these imbalances, we can actually expand the heart into so much more love. Because as Yeshua said 2,000 years ago, love is the key and the way, and so it is. So as we vibrate with the frequencies of love more and more, we are also expanding out into the universe. We're expanding out, and we are more capable and more able to tap in to the quantum field of infinite possibility and infinite creation potential, which is the 22 galaxies of the multigalactic diamond that I call beyond the beyond. So beyond the beyond is beyond the earth, it's beyond this galaxy, it's tapping into an infinite creative potential that is really designed to be activated now, both out there and within us, because we have the creative potential within us, within our own DNA code that is designed and meant to be divinely activated at this time so that human beings can go beyond where we have known ourselves to be and become a much more upgraded human species. And really, in a nutshell, that is my work, because my work is to bring through energy frequencies to catalyze this shift in human potential, to catalyze the expansion of so much more than we've ever known ourselves to be as people. And how I do this is I speak rather strange sounding words. These words are nothing I've ever learned. They're just words that come out of my mouth. I've been activated to speak these words by Source, by Spirit, and it started about 20 years ago. And so now this language is on autopilot, and it just happens when it's meant to happen, but it creates changes in body and mind. And now what it's doing is it's switching on previously dormant aspects of our human DNA code, the book of our life, our human genome, so that the messenger RNA can bring the potential of these new words of creation into our human flesh and blood body and spark shifts and changes in how we think and feel within our consciousness. And becoming God Goddess is certainly about activating and attracting love, but it's also about bringing us to the necessary energy frequency where we can go beyond who we've ever known ourselves to be. And of course, that is going to make us happier, more prosperous, more abundant, and more in a state of absolute Christed beingness. So that's it, really. I feel it's time to begin this little journey that I want to take you on tonight with some energy words as well. So I'll just drink some water and see, I've got my green, slightly tinged green. This is liquid chlorophyll. And the liquid chlorophyll that I put in the water helps take light to the cells. So when I'm speaking these energy words and you are drinking the water with the chlorophyll in, it helps transmit the light, the energy into the cells of the body. So I'll just drink some. So I work with, and I always have, since 1997, I've worked with many guides and guardian angels and beings of light around me. the beings of light who are working with me, apart from the source energy that I'm transmitting tonight, are beings who tell me they come from beyond the beyond. And they say they're part of an energy council that they call El Sa'om. And they describe El Sa'om as being like El, like Elohim, meaning the gods. Sa means ascended or expanded. And Om, as we know, is like universal peace. That connection to oneness, that connection to all that is and infinite perfection. So just open yourself. We have within our heart a heart mind. So just connect to your heart mind, to the mind of your heart, which is not your head. It's not our head. It's the consciousness that resides within our heart. And that consciousness that resides within our heart is generated and expanded by the vibration of love. So just feel into the heart mind and deliberately create the energy of love within the heart. So, Paul and everybody, as human people, we've either got 1 foot in this reality and 1 foot in a more expanded reality. So we're straddling between the worlds at the moment. And sometimes we can get pulled back into the human self of slight anxiety, slight apprehension, slight fear. We don't know what's happening. And this feeling of our humanness has really been exacerbated in the last year because of, we all know, COVID-19, and we've been locked down, and we don't know, we never know what's going to happen in the future. But right now, in the last year, it's been worse. We don't know what's happening in the future, because the certainty that we thought we had, of course, it's all illusion because things can change on a dime, but the certainty that we thought we all had is not there. And so COVID-19 is pretty interesting, really, because I see it as almost being this, in a little bit, like when Jesus Christ came 2,000 years ago. He came to teach us about love through his teachings. I feel that COVID-19 and what many people, everybody around the world has been going through, has also been teaching us about love, because we have had to let go so many times of anxiety and fear and stress and uncertainty. And many people have also been through loss and change. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people have lost people that they love. This has put a pressure on us to make a choice as to whether we align with that fear and anxiety and let go of our own sovereignty and feel that we can't have any control about our lives, or whether we merge into this knowing that we are love and that we are safe eternally and that no harm will come to us. Because when we shift to that vibration and that perspective, it's almost like putting an energy buffer around us, which supports the expansion of that vibration. And life tends to get easier. When we get anxious and uncertain, you probably all know, if you're having a really grumpy day and you go into a shop and you're really grumpy, we tend to get grumpiness reflected back at us, because we're energy beings, and what we are resonating at and vibrating at within our own energy frequency, within our own energy fields, is what we tend to pull into our reality. So this whole COVID-19 experience has been a real test of faith in ourselves, particularly, and faith in the God creator within that we really are. Because I feel, Paul, and everybody, that this is why becoming God goddess and moving outside of that anxiety and that pressure is so important for all of us right now. Because when we vibrate, and it's a vibration of balance, it's a vibration of heart expansion, it's a vibration of being and attracting love. That's what it is. When we merge into that wholeness, we become the true beings that we're meant to be. So that's where we're at right now.
It's a real gift, isn't it? You know, when you speak about COVID like that, because it brings us, it's kind of, it's like a bit, it's kind of upping the ante, you know, it's upping the ante for everybody, that we have to go, you don't have your usual distractions. So you've got to go inside and you've got to keep that, you've got to tend to that, you know? So, but
Yes.
what arose in me there when you were talking about that was lots of people at the moment, myself included, are feeling a little bit kind of like we're in a movie. Like this is like a movie, right? It's like a Netflix special. God is watching it, God is directing it, and we're in this movie. And how, I suppose, the question I want to ask you is, and I can hear the answer as well, but just want to get your take on it, that how do we really hone that skill, even though, you know, the world can seem a bit nuts, and how do we maintain that level of love, that level of frequency? And I suppose if you could go into a little bit about what love actually is from a spiritual perspective, because people always associate it with, you know, I suppose romantic love, giving and receiving love. But what is, you know, what actually do you see love as? And again, to surmise, in this mad movie, how do we maintain this state?
Love is an energy frequency that we can generate within our heart. And that's why at the beginning, when I said to go into the heart mind, because the heart mind, we go into the heart mind just by maybe putting our hands over our heart chakra and feeling into the heart mind with a sense of knowing. So you just say, with the power of God that I am, I connect to my heart mind. And the heart itself, the heart muscle and the heart chakra, it's like when we say I am love, and we say it with a certain force, or we feel the emotion of love. But if you just say it, that's enough. I mean, many people right now are not feeling a lot of love. They're feeling a lot of fear. But we can turn that around by going into the safe, gentle heart mind, getting out of the head and going into the heart, going into that stillness, and deliberately saying the words, with the power of God that I am. When we say that, with the power of God that I am, we connect to the I am presence of us, which is like the expanded higher self part of us, which takes us out of the, I guess you could say, the consternation, you know, the anxiety of the lower ego self. So we say, with the power of God that I am, to connect to the heart, to connect to the soul. I am love, and feel that sense of knowing. And that's when, you know, I can transmit energy which will enhance that. So how about I do that now? So if everybody says, with the power of God that I am love. If you say that to yourself out loud and just know it. And what you should be feeling now is a sense of greater strength, of greater security, like a warmth. Do you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Like a warmth within you. It's like when we consciously create this, because our heart is a generator. It's a powerhouse. When we consciously use our words and our knowing and our gratitude, energy of gratitude is also important, because if we speak these words with the power of God that I am love. And I am grateful for everything I have in my life. And I know that more will be added unto me. That's what Jesus said. Have the faith of a mustard seed. Be grateful, and Mary Magdalene also. Be grateful for what you have. Have this positive expectancy that what you don't have will be given to you, as if you already have it. So it's this gratitude that what we do not have in this physical manifestation, we actually do have in the energy that's surrounding us. And if we speak the word of absolute knowing that we have this, then this will come, and it must come, because energy follows energy, and that's energy law, and that's universal law. That's the law of creation, and scientific energy law has to happen like this. But you see, what often happens as people, we're stressed. Maybe we lose our job, maybe we don't have enough money to buy the food, maybe something goes wrong, we lose a relationship, we're maybe in lockdown with people that we really don't want to be with. It's stressful. So this is our opportunity to be love, but be loving of ourselves first. Because when we're loving of ourselves first, we can more easily do this work, which it is. It's like a discipline. It's like our spiritual work. And sometimes we're going to feel really grumpy and have a really off day. And that's okay, because we're human. But if we can recognize that without beating ourselves up, because we're gods and goddesses, we're not perfect. We all have bad days. If we can recognize that and say, okay, take a deep breath, have a coffee or a cup of tea. Now I just get back into my heart. I get back into my heart because I know that my heart mind is a powerful generator for my good. It's the secret of the secret, really, using our heart and our mind together to create what we want. But it's much easier when we can get into these frequencies of being balanced. And this is what God, Goddess is doing, you see. So how about we work with one thought form that a lot of people in Ireland might be feeling right now energetically. So if you have a thought form that you want to clear from yourself, because it's running a big tape, it's going round and round and round in your head, and you can't seem to push delete on this tape recording in your head, what would it be? Put a message in the chat for Paul about what you would like me to work with energetically. I think I can do 3. What you would like me to work with energetically will take away that repetitive tape recording that's causing you major stress, fear, anxiety, and not allowing you to be in your God, Goddess heart. This is what I'd like to do. I think I'll start with 1. And what I'm getting to start with is terror, panic, and fear. Fear of the future, fear of not knowing what to do, fear of bad things happening, fear of climate change, fear of everything. Okay, so we take away this terror, panic, fear, because we are all children, sons and daughters of God. We are all children of the light. And when we remember that, we also begin to remember that although we're in this human body right now, we've had many, many lifetimes, and that we are eternally safe. And nothing really bad can ever happen to us. So let's work with this now to take away terror, panic, fear, fear of the future, of the unknown. Aizera sabalugudes lacosia, elakisa de sabalugudes sakadi, alakota cosekali sadaka sabadagada, adabadagudisi, asabsabaduguda sasia. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting cords of old belief, cords of past life belief that have maybe keeping you stuck, maybe keeping you locked in this repetitive mouse wheel cycle of illusion, because it's really illusion, even though it feels very real. The thoughts of stress and anxiety that we have as people are not our true authentic nature, you see. They're really illusionary. So if we can go outside, learn to go outside of these vibrations of the repetitive mouse wheel, we actually operate on a completely different frequency waveband. And when we can do that, we don't attract this negative stuff anymore to the same degree, because we can't. We're operating on a different energy. Because what I'm doing now is I'm going into the energy field of everybody who's watching and listening to this call, not just tonight, but in the future, because it's going out on Facebook. And spirit, through me, are cutting cords that are keeping you bound down in limiting beliefs about yourself. Because when those cords of limiting belief are cut and released, then you can go into the true nature of who you really are. So if you feel you want to give some feedback about this, that would be great to give to Paul. Now what I'm doing, and I'm guided to do everything that I'm doing tonight, because I am working with this council that I told you, from Beyond the Beyond, the Council of Elsa Om. And they're like a collection of light beings. They don't even operate through the body. They don't have bodies like us. They're like a merged light of a oneness. And what they are teaching us here is that we, as we change the way society operates on planet Earth, we are also needing to merge into a greater state of beingness so that we might become so much more, you see. So they are saying, okay, we don't want these poor people to suffer anymore because they're beautiful beings of light. So we're just going to take it away, like rubbing the slate clean. So I'm working now, and some of you might feel it. I'm working with this point within the body. You can't really see me here, but it's called the core star. And the core star, I'm not really shown. Okay, the core star is just below the diaphragm and above the navel. And the core star is like the soul's note or the soul's energy deep within us. So I'm working with the core star, and I'm working to balance imbalances within the soul that we have picked up through our long cycle of human experience on Earth and all these bodies and lifetimes that we've lived. So what I hope you're all feeling now is a sense of warmth and a greater degree of lightness. Like it warm and tingly and a bit more warm and fuzzy. And if everybody takes a deep breath also, this will help. Because they, this energy collective, say to me, you are not who you think you are. You are so much more than you know. And it is time to step outside of the limiting box of perception and become the truth of your soul. It's very important for us all now, because everybody who is drawn to watch this program tonight, Paul, everybody is a light worker. Everybody is someone who has come in this physical body, in this particular incarnation, to shine their light and to be the light and to help those who can't find their light, find their light. But of course, as human people, we have to find our light first. You know, we have to maintain that light within us first. And this is our challenge right now. And this is what COVID-19 has done for us, because we have been forced down this rabbit hole of changing the way we perceive our reality in many cases. And we have had to go through almost like being pushed under the water of grief. Years ago, in 2013, I went to La Sainte-Baume in Provence in France. Mary Magdalene asked me to go there because this is a place in southern France where she was said to have lived after she went to Gaul, following the crucifixion of Jesus. And it's talked about in that region very much. So I went there and I stayed in the monastery at La Sainte-Baume. And every day I would walk on the mountain, and February was pretty snowy, so there was snow all over the mountain. So I was quite pleased after I walked on the mountain to go into the coffee shop and sit there and drink café au lait by the fire. And every day as I sat drinking café au lait and sipping my café au lait and eating my croissant by the fire, she would come into my mind telepathically and she'd tell me things about love. And so I created this program, which is another program in my Ascension Library called The Transcripts of Mary Magdalene. But it was what she was teaching me about and doing for me as well was balancing the love within my heart. So the Transcripts of Mary Magdalene is balancing heart love so that we can go beyond these ricocheting emotions that we so often get. Becoming God, Goddess is the capstone. It's the next piece of this. And that is merging the masculine and feminine, balancing the male and female aspects of ourselves, because we've got both, whether we're male or female. And then shifting with energy alchemy into a completely different state of being so that we are able to be that love vibration, that energy frequency of love, which is, if you feel it, I mean, you feel it in your own being as being much faster. It's about 520 hertz on an energy scale. If we look at energy emotional states of, say, fear, anxiety, they're way down on that scale. So that's why when we feel sad or angry or in these so-called lower emotional states or more negative so-called emotional states, the energy vibration is slower within us. We're not radiating light, because human beings do radiate light. We emit biophoton frequencies. And a study was done relatively recently by someone who's doing a PhD in California, where the subject was put into a completely darkened room, and the biophoton emissions from their body, this is the light that they're emitting from their human body, the degree of light was studied. And so when they listened to the energy language of expanding the heart into love, the biophotons, the light that they were emitting, really increased. So it's a scientific fact. So if we can expand into more loving states by using our heart mind and our words, you know, energy follows words. So even if you're not feeling particularly loving or happy, if we speak it, we become it, you see. So if you say, oh, I feel lousy today and I really don't want to get out of bed, if you actually say to yourself, with the power of God that I am wonderful, I feel radiant, I just radiate love so much. Even if you don't feel it, you will start to become it. It's a very simple little tool, really.
the word is so powerful. The affirmation is so powerful. Judy, as this seems like a real choice point in the world right now, and sorry, just seeing Hazel commented there that patience was one of the things that she would want to let go of. So we might come back to that later on, yeah? So be patient, Hazel, we'll get back to that later. So I'm fascinated by, have we been here before? Do you feel we've been at this point before in our evolution? When people talk about stuff like Atlantis or Lemuria, that we were at a choice point before as well. And things like AI, artificial intelligence, there seems to be on the planet right now this kind of like a crossroads between natural healing abilities and this kind of cosmetic type of medicine, if you like, kind of artificial in some way. So I'm just wondering, do you feel we've been here before in places like Lemuria and Atlantis? Have we been at this point before?
I do feel that we have. I do feel that the human race has been here before, but I do absolutely feel that this time we're going to make it. And I do feel that in those times, when Mu sank into the ocean, when Atlantis sank into the ocean, okay, I feel that there was energy forces that caused this, but I also feel that I would say it was meant to be, but I feel that now it is meant to be that we go beyond where we've been. That's what I would say. I feel that we have been at this point of change before, but this time we're ready. It's like third time lucky in a way. We've prepared. We don't know we've prepared on a human level necessarily, but on a soul level, we've certainly prepared. And all we have to do is step into that authenticity of who we really are and let go of who we think we are in this physical body in this lifetime. I've experienced this resynthesis myself, because I know myself as Judy. Many people know me as Judy. I've always been Judy. But to a large extent, I don't feel that person that I used to be anymore. And I'm being asked to step outside of that. I might still be called Judy by people, but I'm not that person. And it's not something, I've realized it's not something I have to struggle about to do. I don't have to struggle and try to figure out where I'm going. I just have to step into the water, the river of life, and allow the river of life to take me where it's meant to take me, because I believe that we all have a soul destiny plan. And when we can get out of our own way and get into the love, and sometimes that requires quite a bit of meditation. When I say meditation, I'm not necessarily talking about meditating with a mantra. I'm more talking about the type of meditation that I would call anapanasati, which was taught by the Buddha. And anapanasati meditation is just being in the absolute stillness. It's really, you just really do it. You don't do it really, because you just observe your breath. It's simple. So you just sit and you observe the simple breath of your own breath of life with gentle curiosity, really. But there is something that happens in that stillness of not doing and just being, which is profoundly transformative and creative. It's almost like waving a green light for the soul to bring forward the new direction. So instead of trying to figure it out with the intellectual mind, go into the heart, shut the eyes for 22 minutes, 33 minutes every day. And don't sort of beseech and say, please God, please show me what to do and tell me where to go and change this and change that. There is a place for prayer. because prayer is positive affirmation that sets an intention out there in the quantum field or the universal field that brings us what we want. But this is completely different. This is actually just training ourselves to get out of the mind and into the heart and sit within that heart space without any kind of expectation whatsoever that any great insight is going to pop up on the screen, and just be. So it's good to maybe just start by doing that maybe for 22 minutes and put the timer on the phone. Shut your eyes, put your hands gently over your heart chakra, and just ask yourself, or set an intention with the power of God that I am. I connect to my soul. I connect to the authentic truth of my soul. And note that we're not asking for the soul to do anything. We're just saying, I connect to the authentic truth of my soul. And our soul knows what our destiny plan is. We just have to be still enough to hear it. So it's about going into the stillness, really. It's about being still enough to hear it. Because we're bombarded by digital media. We're bombarded by TV and Netflix and this and that and people wanting something. We're constantly being bombarded. So how can we ever feel easily what it is that we're here for and what it is that we're meant to do? Because we're constantly in this energy soup going on around us. Go out on the street, go to a coffee shop, go to a restaurant. It's constantly there, people talking. How can we ever do it unless we train ourselves to go into the heart mind, to go into the heart stillness and just be? And for that same reason, it's really good to be in nature, to be on a beach, to be not doing anything, not having any fixed agenda, but just to say, I'm going for a walk and I'm going to connect with the plants and the flowers and the birds. I'm not going to think about anything or try to figure it out. I'm just going to be. That's what I realized a lot.
It's prompting as well when you're saying that there. Just there's in the description of the event when you wrote love and evolve.
Yes.
The words love and evolve are kind of closely related. So does that mean, and sometimes we think, oh, I might have some blocks, I might need to clear stuff, or I might have some patterns that I repeat. Is it more about letting them fall away than trying to clear them? Is that kind of what you're saying?
It's both, which is probably a bit confusing. If we look at something like the God Goddess program, there are 21 audio tracks. It's like a 4-step sacred process of creation, and it's a tool. It's a tool that Spirit have given to everybody through me to help us all dump the stuff more quickly and to move into wholeness. And it's particularly to do with coming into our God Goddess self. So the first step of this 4-step program is the first 18 tracks. Things like clearing terror, panic, fear, loneliness, isolation, abandonment, loss, being afraid to love, unworthiness, negative self-image, victimization, not being available for love, having low expectations of ourselves that we're not going to meet anybody that we like or resonates with us, poor work-life balance, rose-tinted glasses syndrome, which is sort of interesting because that's for the people who have had relationships and they match up with somebody who on the surface looks wonderful, but they see that person and that person's values and qualities through rose-tinted spectacles, rose-tinted glasses, and then it all starts to unravel and fall apart. So there's 18 specific recordings and people can see what they are if they just look at the website, really. And then the next step is once you've cleared all that, because we do sometimes have to clear the energy. It helps, it goes more quickly. then we expand the love capacity, expand the capacity to love. The third part is to do with balancing the masculine and feminine, the yin and yang within us. And that's also very interesting, because the yin is like the feminine, the hidden, the unseen, the receptive, the still. The yang is the doing, the masculine, the out there, the getting things done. And if we as an individual have an imbalance in our yin-yang aspects, because we have them all, it could affect us like this. Say you're a woman and you have an imbalance in your yin, and your yin is overdeveloped. What you might struggle with if your yin is overdeveloped is that you don't feel good enough about yourself. You maybe feel a victim, or you're victimized. You don't want to speak up about anything. You feel dismissive, and other people dismiss you because you see what we resonate with. If you're a woman and you're resonating with an overactive yin aspect, people are going to put you down, and they're going to project all that dismissive energy to you because it's in you, you see. So if you're a man, for example, and you have an overactive yang aspect, and remember, we've got both yin and yang, and they can be underactive or overactive. If you're a man and your yang aspect is overactive, this would be somebody that maybe is domineering and controlling, is telling his wife and children what to do, but he hates himself for it. He doesn't want to do it, and he doesn't know why he does it. It's just that his energy is really out of balance. So when we correct that and bring the yin and the yang into balance, then we can go to the fourth stage of becoming goddess, which is being and attracting love. But we have to be and attract love to ourselves first before we can attract love from a significant other, like a partner in our life, or anybody in our life. You know, some people, they really mean well. They really want to love and feel that validation coming back. But everything they do is irksome and annoying to the other people that they want the love from, because they're sort of trying too hard. This is someone who is imbalanced in the yin aspect. They haven't got enough yin, you see, which is the divine feminine, the goddess within. The goddess within, the balanced yin, is the goddess who is self-assured, who is serene, who is loving, who loves herself. So she puts herself not above others, but before others, because she knows that she has to put herself first and fill her own cup up before anybody else can drink from that cup, before she can share that cup of herself with anybody. So this is what this program will do. But we can all do things for ourselves that help to change who we are. I think a very good tool is when you have a really emotional feeling, like a feeling that you don't like, is to really sit with that feeling. Say you felt, oh gosh, I'm really annoyed today. Instead of trying to brush that annoyance off, some people brush it off and they think, I want to distance myself from that annoyance because I am a good person and I don't want to feel annoyed. Other people will feel that annoyance, and they're the sort of people that say, right, I'm going to dump this annoyance on you because it's all your fault and you've done this to me and you've done this and this and this and I'm annoyed. This is the sort of person that projects whatever's going on with them onto someone else. Mm-hmm. It's not balanced. So, but what we should be doing really is feeling into that emotion, because it could be something that is repetitive and was triggered, but it's something that we've felt a lot in some other past life or even in childhood as well, of course. So we feel, if you can allow yourself to feel into that emotion of, say, annoyance, and feel and feel and feel it and magnify and make it stronger, it becomes a bit like a paper tiger, and it starts to dissolve and fade away. You know, the Arcturians years ago taught me a simple technique. It's a healing technique. And it's just, if you feel that emotion, say annoyance, then you magnify the energy of the annoyance and make it really, really strong. Strong as you can. So you're virtually vibrating with that energy quality of annoyance. And then you say to yourself out loud, with the power of God that I am, this feeling of annoyance is not mine, because it's not yours, because you're this beautiful, timeless, eternal, love-filled soul. This feeling of annoyance is not mine. I dissolve it with love. I dissolve it with love, because love heals anything. I dissolve it with love now and forever. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. And that's an Arcturian, they call it the fourth blessing technique. And it's really simple. And then what we do then, once we get rid of that annoyance, then you can program with your heart mind the polar opposite of that. So if you weren't annoyed, you would probably be calm and relaxed and loving. So then you can program the opposite by saying, with the power of God that I am calm. I'm serene. I'm loving. I'm a child of God. I am a child of the universe. And if you do that enough, it shifts the balance between the old behaviors, which really are just habits. They're habits of the mind. So if we can reprogram these habits of the mind, just by catching these so-called negative thoughts or lower vibrational thoughts or aspects of our shadow self, when they come up, then this is our evolving, this is our evolution. Because the more we can evolve through the love, and it's interesting to take note that there is a connection between evolve and love. Because if we can magnify that energy that we don't like, heal it with our own power of love, it assists very greatly with our consciousness evolution. And it makes us feel better, because if we are vibrating with all these lower vibrational energies, we're not going to probably feel very well physically, because the energy pathways for the chi, energy, prana, flowing through our physical body can't flow when there's blocks in the way. And these blocks are consciousness glitches, energy blocks that we have. When we are happy and positive and full of love, and some of you will, I'm sure you will know, like when you are in love, when you meet somebody and you are in love, you feel wonderful. And you feel wonderful because the chi, the prana, the energy of the life force energy can flow through the body properly. See?
Thank you, Judy. So I just wanted to say to people, if you want to start typing your questions in, because we'll move into that section now. So please feel free to type your questions into the chat box and I'll go through them and read them to Judy. Judy, before we go over to that stage, I want to talk a little bit about multidimensionality, that I think humans are moving into that we'll have access to more different kind of frequencies and flavors. We're already seeing it. And I'm also fascinated by how many different beings you work with and have connected with. You've mentioned Mary Magdalene, Yeshua. The one I'm fascinated by, I don't know why, is the Elohim.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about some of the greatest lessons you've learned from some of these amazing teachers that you've connected with and channeled over the years?
Well, this whole channeling thing rather took me by surprise, because at the time, I was a public relations consultant and marketing consultant. So I didn't expect to ever speak Arcturian languages, because what I used to do was write press releases for telecom. Okay, so big shock to me when I went to a Learn to Channel workshop in 1997, and I met there a being, and I knew I met him because I could see this man with dark skin and black eyes and wearing a purple robe in my mind. And as his energy connected with me, my whole body shook violently. And then his voice came out of my mouth. It didn't sound like me talking. I wasn't in a trance. I've always been a conscious channel, like I'm here, but the energy sort of came into me, and the Judy part sort of sidestepped a little bit. So there was like a merging of two energies within my body, which was rather strange at first. So I worked with Balthazar, who told me that he was one of the Magi, one of the three wise men. And usually when we first meet our spiritual guides, it's because we have been with them in some past life. And so I had been with him in past life. And then about a year later, after I worked with Balthazar virtually every day. When I say worked, I would just really have a conversation because he became a friend and he gave me advice and he would help me. It was quite a challenging time in my life at that time because I was going through massive transition on every level. And he gave me advice about what to do and I followed it and things worked out and we just became buddies really. And I became very good at knowing his energy because, you know, when they're not in a body, and he was not in a body, he was in a light body. It's like their energy signature is like our name. So I'm Judy, you're Paul. When we communicate, you feel my energy and I feel yours. But when it's a being of light, we only really have the pictures in our mind to go by and the feeling that we get from sitting with that energy. So after a year of working with Balthazar's energy, I went for a walk on the beach one night and I got back and I sat down and I did my usual sitting with Balthazar, but he didn't come. And all of a sudden, and I felt this other energy around me, and all of a sudden out of my mouth came this very loud voice, "My name is Organ." And I thought, oh my God. And it was a bit scary, really, because this energy was not warm, loving, and fuzzy, you know, warm and fuzzy and loving like Balthazar's had been. It was completely different energy signature. So then Balthazar popped up and he said, "It's okay. This is a new guide for you. This guide is from like the galaxy. He hasn't been in a life on Earth." And Organ was really here just to help me understand that I was, from that time on, going to be stepped up and work with many beings. And how it really all happens, that I was teaching, I was doing events. Really, I was just helping people understand the big picture of life. I hadn't, at that time, I was a physiotherapist originally, and I trained for 3 years in natural healing sciences, working in the auric field. So I was doing that. And I was also teaching people how to channel and how to connect with their own guides. And I was teaching about the more expanded perspectives of life and about ascended masters. And so at these events that I would do once a week, I would work with different ascended masters. And I was always get told, and I still do, always really, I was always get told who it was that I'm working with. And then I would frantically think, oh goodness, Elmora, who's Elmora? So I'd Google, I'd look up Elmora and I'd learn about Elmora. And then I'd talk about Elmora and Elmora's energy would come through. Or Yeshua, Jesus Christ. I knew about Yeshua, Jesus Christ. But there were many ascended masters that I really didn't understand, like Serapis Bey, the Egyptian. And so I learned to work. I have worked with all these ascended masters at some time or another. And archangels like the Archangel Metatron, Raphael, all the archangels really. So all of my training has been as a multidimensional, multilingual channel to bring through energies from this galaxy, but outside of this galaxy. And in 2002, I just spontaneously started to speak this language that I speak. It was a sort of baby language at that time, not like I do now. And that's also evolved over the past 20 years. It's been step by step. So now what I speak really is that I'm bringing through energy words of new creation from source, God, all that is. And this energy is coming from beyond the beyond. It's coming from a more expanded God creation energy matrix than all of us really have been able to receive energy from before. There was creative force for this galaxy alone, the Milky Way galaxy, but the creative force that's now streaming to the planet, which is part of the catalyst for our ascension process, is actually a much more expanded and more powerful and more potent creative energy force. And this is why it's coming through. This God energy is coming through to us now, because it's meant to, because we are meant to be expanding into a new human life cycle, really. As Yeshua, Jesus said 2,000 years ago, you are not to leave your bodies behind. And so through this process, we are not dying and going somewhere, most of us, but we are expanding into a new type of physical human body, a physical human body that holds more light, a physical human body that is more healthy and vital and strong. You know, certain aspects of this ascension process also, I believe, and we're in the infancy of this, is age retardation, like to a degree turning back the clock, regenerating the body, not being so affected by the dis-ease processes of normal human life and early aging, because human beings are meant to live a lot longer than most people up until now have lived. And so you see, you know, there are thousands of companies who sell plant-based foods, for example, to help us adapt and strengthen our physical bodies so that we might receive this light and take it in. And as I said before, there's chlorophyll in the water, because this is chlorophyll from plants. It's the green pigment in plants. You know, plants get their energy, metabolize their energy by photosynthesis. The new type of human will also get their energy by, not by photosynthesis, obviously, but by absorbing and eating more of the green pigment in plants, because this green pigment in plants helps conduct energy, which is light, to the cells of the body.
And probably directly absorbing light as well from the atmosphere.
It is.
I get that sense. Yeah.
Totally.
Judy, when you talk about ascension, I want to ask you something about that, because and you kind of answered it there, but ascension, when you think of ascension, you feel like you're going to rise above, you're going to leave behind. But recently when I interviewed somebody, they mentioned that this is heaven. This place here is heaven. Wherever you are kind of is heaven. So when you think about something like ascension, you described it there, we're kind of moving into a higher aspect, but we're not leaving the planet. We're not leaving the body. So we're not.
Exactly. It's really interesting. I think sometimes the name ascension is not a very good description of what it is, except there's no other name that we have to coin one, I think. But ascension really is not going up. It's not going anywhere. It's really expanding into more of who we are, both on a soul level, but it's creating a shift within our human state. I believe that as human beings, the human species is going through an evolutionary shift. This doesn't happen overnight, but in our generation, it is a major time of catalyst and advancement, major time of change, and particularly between the years 2020 and 2033. And this energy streaming to Earth is really doing this change, but creating this change in all of us. And this is why the love vibration and becoming the God goddess within is so very important, because the energy that's streaming to earth, which is ascension energy frequency, can do its job so much better if the pathways in our physical body are clear and clean. And if we are resonating at the frequency of love, because the love frequency that we hold in our consciousness and vibrate with in our bodies and in our energy fields is actually the key and the way. Beings that cannot hold the frequency of love cannot receive to the same degree the ascension energies. You see? So it's it's like a safeguard in a way. If you can't be loving, we're not going to upgrade you.
Okay.
Is probably where it's at.
Okay.
You have to be loving. And fifth dimensional energy frequency is all about love, peace, and unity consciousness. So our mission is to create within ourselves love, peace, and unity consciousness. And as we do that, it's a bit like the 100 monkey principle. This love, peace, and unity consciousness in every being, because we're all very important to this process. No one, we're lights that are merging together into one greater, more expanded light. No man is an island, no man stands alone, and no light being is an island, and no light being stands alone either. The purpose is to merge into the unity and oneness of all, which really is our sole purpose in being in a body anyway, is to merge into the light.
Brilliant, I love it. So B, I have some questions now coming in. So B for Brendan is asking, Judy mentioned RNA upgrade, our bodies being able to hold more energy. Is that the same RNA they are talking about in the vaccines? Should we as humans be trying to manipulate RNA?
What did you say? RNA.
At the very last one?
Yes. What is that word?
DNA. RNA. Yeah, RNA is the, I think it's the thing they use within the vaccine, the RNA.
Messenger. No, what I meant, and maybe it's my New Zealand accent, but I'm talking about DNA. I'm talking about the human genome. I'm talking about the pattern for our human beingness, our physical body and who we are, all the characteristics that we have as human beings. I'm talking about all the chromosomes in the body and the way that our DNA expresses. And I believe that the ascension process is triggering change within DNA and the activation of maybe previously dormant aspects of our DNA to be triggered to express, like to be fired up to express. And the energy frequencies that I speak in the words that I transmit, many of them are about activating, recoding of what it is to be human, you see. So I don't know that word that Brendan was talking about.
Relating to the vaccine. And actually Hazel is asking here, which kind of continues on from that a little bit. Some spiritual channels have said the injection will close off the crown chakra and it will be harder to connect to source. What's your guide's view on that?
Yes. So I get a lot of questions about the vaccine and whether it's safe and whether we should use it. It's a topic that I hesitate to get into, not because I'm a coward, I don't want to talk about it, but because I think everybody needs to make up their own mind. And I don't think it's my role to give definitive answers about what I think or don't think. I do know that one of the vaccines, I can't remember which one, it works because of the messenger RNA taking the vaccine coding to the body. Okay. Let's just say that I don't like, what do I think? If it was me, and I'll be honest, I don't like vaccines. I don't like any drugs in my body, and I tend never to take them. But I don't know enough about these vaccines. I haven't studied them enough to say that it's going to close off any chakras. And I think everybody has to do their own research and make their own decisions. That's what I would say. Yeah.
I'm going to stick to ascension rather than vaccine. That's my plan.
I feel that we need to be mindful, and we need to go into our goddess selves and make our decision based on our own research, our own heart, and what we feel is right for us, because we are all sovereign beings and we all need to make that personal decision ourselves.
Beautiful. Thank you. Brilliant answer. Janice Viscardi, who is a legend in her own right. Beautiful lady. Big shout out to Janice. So hi, Janice is asking, thank you for being here with us tonight. And hang on, I've lost that question now for some reason. Okay. Yeah. Judy, I would like to ask, do you feel with all that's going on in the world that the light has won and this is just playing out now to wake more people up? That we must continue to be strong and hold the light more than ever with love. Namaste.
Namaste. Janice. Hi, Janice. Yes, I do feel that the light has won, because I feel that the energies of God, of the divine, of the heavens triumph over any force of lower vibration, and always will. And when we go into our heart and our love and our positive knowing of this, and we let go of our fear, we overcome. You know, it was interesting when I wrote my book, Sunshine Before the Dawn. It was about Lyra and the Lyrans, the 12th dimensional Lyrans, at this place called the Lyran Stargate. They were corrupted and taken over by dracons, beings of darkness, who wished to control them through, and the only way they could, the only way beings of darkness can control us is through fear, is through generating the energy and the emotion of fear within us, because that is their way in, that is their pathway into our energy fields and into our bodies. So when we move beyond fear into the absolute knowing of our own goddess selves and our own sovereignty and authenticity, we don't subscribe to fear, and the forces of darkness can't touch us. See?
Brilliant. Okay.
What's coming to my mind about that too is, do you remember the Cathars in, I think, 13th or 14th century?
Mm-hmm. It's a bit far back, but I remember it, Judy, yes.
Oh, right. Well, you probably were there. I probably was too. Anyway, what they did is they believed in the one God within them, you see, and they were the Inquisition in France and other countries in Europe was trying to control them, of course, put them down, put them down, put them down. But they refused to subscribe to fear. And their town of Montségur was burned to the ground. And they had such a belief and subscribe to love, such a belief in love, that they willingly, I don't think many of us could do this, but they held hands and they sang and they willingly walked into the flames. They would have been put to death. They were going to be put to death, but they preferred to be put to death in their own way, by walking courageously into the flames. Now, I don't feel that the forces of darkness are going to burn our cities and throw us into the flames in this lifetime, because I think evolution on the planet and the way people operate has moved on. So what we have to do is metaphorically stand together and walk into the flames, which is really about stand together in unity, stand together in strength, go into a place of love and not fear, and just know that the light and the love will always overcome the darkness. Just like love vibration is a faster pulsating energy frequency than fear. It's higher up on the scale. of energy measurement. So love will always triumph over fear, my opinion.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for that question, Janice. So B is asking, what steps would Judy recommend to give us the best chance of ascending, course of study, etc.?
Well, I'm a great advocate for my own online Ascension library, and that is at ascensionlibrary.org. And ascensionlibrary.org holds probably hundreds of audio recordings that Spirit have given me over the last 20 years. And if you are an Ascension Library member, you pay a monthly subscription, but you get access to all of the material that's there. These are all tools that help us in different ways, like opening the heart, being all that you be all you can be and more. Transcripts from Mary Magdalene, becoming God Goddess, the regeneration pathway, which is about regenerating the body, beautiful, which is about soul beauty, shining the radiance of the soul. A lot of foundational tools that get us over the hump, probably dozens and dozens of karmic clearing recordings, and they're all housed in the Ascension Library, ascensionlibrary.org, and you can just go to that site and see what's there. And there's a free 5-day trial, so you can try it out. And there's also a free explore section where you can listen to some of the recordings and just see whether that energy is for you. So that's what I offer.
Brilliant. Yeah, and if I'm going to look so much younger when I ascend, I can get rid of all my skin creams. You can throw them all out and save a fortune, right?
Yeah, well, actually, the love vibration shining through the body, like the light of the soul shining through the body, is incredibly regenerating, incredibly transformative.
Yeah. We're coming towards the end, so anybody has any more questions, feel free to type them in. Judy, I just want to ask you, you're in New Zealand now. I know it's very early there, so thank you for getting up so early and looking amazing. If it was 6:30 in Dublin, I would be crawling out of the bed right now. So well done on that score. Just to ask you, what are you working on at the moment? Are you working on some new books? And how is life in New Zealand now? What's going on for you?
Well, I think, Paul, we're very fortunate here in New Zealand because we are not in lockdown. We were only in lockdown for, I think it was about 7 weeks last year in level 4 lockdown. And then in Auckland, the capital city, they had, I think, 3 or 4 periods of level 3. But I am in Christchurch in the South Island, and there's no lockdown in New Zealand anymore. We're very lucky. We can do whatever we want and go to cafes and interact with people. We have to be mindful, of course, and we really feel for the people that we love and care about, our friends in other countries and other cities who are not so fortunate. I think we're lucky. We've got I think our Prime Minister I admire and respect, and she shut the country down very quickly as soon as the COVID-19 cases come across the border. But we're also a small nation, so we've only got about 5 million people here, 4 to 5 million people. So it's much easier to control a pandemic in a country where there's not so many people. And also we've got sea around us. We're a long way from anywhere. So once we shut down our borders, nobody could come anyway. So it's been a lot easier here for that reason. Mm. And as for my work, I teach the members of my Ascension Library. I have an Ascension and You program that I do once a month. We have one on Sunday, actually, that anybody could join if they want to. The one on Sunday is about healing in the etheric template, which is the 5th level of the energy field. And it's about strengthening the tree of our new life, helping us prepare for a new beginning. And I'm working with energies in the quantum field and bringing those energies into the body by magnetizing the same frequency of what is in the field and activating the perfect pattern within the etheric template, the 5th level of the field, which is like the pattern of our physical body. So when we activate the divine perfection within the 5th level, we can transfer it into the body, a bit like DNA script or coding is transferred by messenger RNA into the organic structure of the body. So it works a bit like that, but it's done energetically. And in terms of my writing, I've got a lot of writing ahead of me because I'm really being asked by Spirit now to write books with information from beyond the beyond. Like going out way more into the galaxies and working with my loved ones there.
Yeah, I just want to, yeah, I love when you say beyond the beyond. I don't know why that is. Maybe it reminds me of a movie or something. It's a beautiful feeling I get when you say that. Hazel is commenting. Sorry?
Yeah, I think you know it.
Maybe I know it.
I think many people know it. But I can see your lovely faces here. If you know it, just put your hand up. If you somehow within you know this word, beyond the beyond. Beyond the beyond is not just beyond what we know as human people. Beyond the beyond is that place of infinite love and creation beyond this galaxy, because we have been beings, not just in this Milky Way galaxy, when we became separate from the Godhead, separate from Source. We may have, not everybody, but we may have had many lifetimes of experience in other star systems and other galaxies. And so we know with our more expanded soul perspective and our divine soul knowing, our truth, this word beyond the beyond, because we've heard of it before. We're just remembering.
Yeah.
You're just remembering.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Beyond the beyond. I like it. I like it. Hazel is mentioning your album, Song of Lyra, which would help people with the ascension process.
Yes.
And I think before we go, Judy, would you like to lead us in a closing meditation? How do you feel about that? Would you like to do that?
I would actually. And I was thinking about this, and I had this prayer. What I'll show you. See, I've laminated it because I like to laminate things and then they don't get all dog-eared. So this is a prayer of becoming, and I want to read it to everybody, because what we're doing now is actually letting go of the doing and becoming, which is why I talked about the 22-minute meditation. And it goes like this. May the love of God come into this space, into my mind and into my heart. In the stillness, let the word of God speak, so that I might hear and come into the presence. Be at peace, be at peace, be at peace. From the heart of God, the heart of the diamond, and the infinite all, I now receive energies of transformation and enlightenment. I am that I am, now and forever. Because we're all being transformed now, you see. That's what ascension really is. As my soul is expanded and my body vessel regenerated, I open myself to see through new eyes, as those impediments that have blocked clear sight are at last removed and set aside. And all of me, body, mind, and spirit, is uplifted, expanded, and set free. Mikli kushlo sasama lokos lokoya. Emalakasi kalasabedgodisia, alagalabegodisia, abedgosala salokos sakadi, meshtokos sakalabedkeshtossakasia. And what Spirit is saying, they're saying, children of light. They're saying, you're all children. We are all children of light. Children of light, Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Set yourself, we've got to set ourselves free from old tape recordings that limit us. Through my heart mind, I link eternally with God mind, through the heart mind. And in that certain love, I rest, secure in the knowing that there is no thing that I need to do except to be. We just have to learn to be by not doing. From above, from source creation, I receive the new light of inspiration and creativity. And from below, from Earth's heart itself, I receive the energies of restoration and renewal. As it is, as it was, as it ever shall be, from this day forth. Amen. Amenti. And that energy from below is from Amenti, which is like Earth's heart, Earth's pulse rhythms, the regeneration energies from within the earth. And this prayer can be, you can read it at ascensionlibrary.org, and you can download it from the homepage as a PDF. So you don't have to be an Ascension Library member. And I just also want to say, Paul, that there's a free breaking through program for anybody that wants to begin a new chapter, a more expanded chapter of life, and be more the authentic truth of the soul. Breaking through is actually also free of charge on the homepage at ascensionlibrary.org. It's a 6-week program of alchemy change. You can use that too if you want. So, thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I'm just putting that in the comments. Ascensionlibrary.org, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to say thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. It's been a great event. I've loved having you all here, and our great guest, Judy Satori. Thank you so much, Judy, for being with us. I'll do a short kind of closing, just a very short closing heart connection again before we go. And I'm just going to hang on with Judy at the end. So I'll invite you all to leave when we finish, whenever it's easy for you to leave. And just to say, we have another event on April 29th. And our guest is Anita Morhani, who wrote a book called Dying to Be Me, about her near-death experience. So she's written a new book about empaths and about sensitivity on the planet right now, and how it's so powerful. Sensitivity is a very powerful thing, actually. So that's on April 29th, same time. You'll find tickets for that on our website or on Facebook and stuff like that. Okay, so we'd love to see you all there again. And thanks again to Judy. Judy, if you hang on at the end with me just for a little chat before we go. I'm just going to invite you all, as we say goodbye, just to tune in and connect with all the energy in the group. And tune into your heart center again. You've been there for most of the evening. And just get a sense of your own goddess energy. Just tune into that right now. That powerful presence within you. And send it love. Step into the feeling of that, the power of that. And just get a sense of that kind of eternal supply of love within the universe and within you. And now just send a blast of that to everybody here on the call, and everybody on the planet, and everybody anywhere right now. Send them that blast of love from your heart center. Feel that love filling you up as you open your eyes. Let it bring a smile to your face. We send love to Judy Satori in New Zealand. Send love to everybody on the call. Thank you, folks. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.